long ago, under the heavy shadow of a powerful empire. In a wealthy city ruled by a ruthless tyrant named Dakianis, there lived a group of extraordinary young men. They were not poor outcasts or commoners. They were the sons of the elite, raised in absolute luxury. But their hearts felt heavy in a city drowning in darkness. Their people bowed blindly to lifeless statues of stone. They sacrificed to false gods who could not hear or see. How did these young noblemen discover the truth? There was no prophet preaching in their streets at that time. Instead, they used their pure minds and looked up at the vast sky. They observed the perfect, terrifying balance of the sun and the stars. Their intellect told them that carved stones did not create this universe. They realized there is only one supreme creator, the Almighty Lord of the heavens and the earth. The Holy Quran reveals a beautiful, hidden truth about them. God says, "We strengthened their hearts and made them firm." When they took one step toward God, He poured divine light into their chests. He gave them the immense courage to face the ultimate drama. During a grand pagan festival, they refused to bow. They stood up boldly in front of the tyrant king and their own families. They declared, "Our Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth. We will never call upon any deity besides Him." This was a dangerous and life-threatening rebellion. The penalty for rejecting the king's idols was a brutal, public death. Who exactly was in this brave secret brotherhood? The Quran tells us that humanity would forever debate their exact number. Some say they were 3, and their dog was the 4th. Some say 5, and their dog the 6th, guessing blindly at the unseen. Others say 7, and their loyal dog was the 8th. God commands us to say, "My Lord knows best their number." The true miracle is not how many they were, but the power of their faith. Hunted by the king's ruthless soldiers, the youths had to make a choice. They abandoned their wealth, their massive homes, and their noble status. They fled into the rugged, unforgiving mountains to save their souls. Following closely behind them was their loyal dog, a brave guardian that would become a legend in human history. They reached a dark, hidden cave to escape the king's wrath. They raised their hands and prayed, "Our Lord, grant us mercy from yourself, and guide us safely through our terrifying ordeal." They lay down on the cold, hard rock, completely exhausted. And then, the Creator of time did something unimaginable. He sealed their ears and placed them into a miraculous, death-like sleep. Inside the deep, terrifying silence of the mountain cave, the young noblemen lay perfectly still on the hard stone. Outside, the furious soldiers of King Dakianis searched the lands. They scoured the valleys, crossed rivers, and climbed the rugged peaks. They wanted to execute the youths in the center of the city. But God, the Most High, made the cave blind to their enemies. The tyrant's wrath was utterly powerless against divine protection. Days turned into weeks, and weeks bled into centuries. Generations of men lived, fought, and turned to dust. Great empires rose to power and collapsed into ruin. The pagan city that hunted them slowly transformed over time. Yet, inside the hidden cavern, time had completely stopped. The youths remained locked in a profound, miraculous sleep. The Holy Quran describes the stunning physical realities of this event. If you had looked at them, you would have thought they were awake. Their eyes may have been open, yet their minds were deep in slumber. God commanded the very cosmos to protect their sleeping bodies. The sun itself was given strict orders regarding their hidden sanctuary. When it rose, it inclined away from their cave to the right. When it set, it passed them by on the left. They lay in the cool, open space of the cavern, untouched by the burning heat. This was a profound sign of God's absolute mastery over nature. But what happens to a human body lying still for centuries? The flesh would naturally decay, and the bones would turn to dust. But the creator of biology suspended the laws of nature entirely. God says in the Quran, "We turned them to the right and to the left." An unseen, divine force gently rolled their sleeping bodies back and forth. This preserved their flesh and kept them entirely unharmed by the earth. And what of their loyal, brave companion? Their dog lay at the entrance of the cave, acting as a fierce guard. Its forepaws were stretched out broadly across the rocky threshold. It too was suspended in this death-like, mystical sleep. The Quran tells us a terrifying truth about their divine aura. If a wanderer had stumbled upon them in the dark, if someone had looked into the cave and seen them lying there, they would have turned around and fled in absolute terror. God clothed the sleepers in an overwhelming aura of dread and majesty. No human, no wild beast, and no spirit dared to enter their sanctuary. For 300 long solar years, they slept in the shadows. Add 9 more years to make 309 lunar years. The ruthless king died, and his pagan empire crumbled to ash. The world outside changed completely, forgetting the rebellious elite youths. The city of darkness was slowly replaced by a city of believers. But God never forgets his sincere and faithful servants. He preserved them as a walking, breathing historical sign. The stage was now set for the ultimate, shocking awakening, a moment that would shake the foundations of human understanding. After 309 lunar years, the divine command was given. The heavy veil of slumber was gently lifted from the noble youths. One by one, they opened their eyes in the dim, quiet light. They stretched their limbs, completely unaware of the centuries that had passed. Their loyal dog awoke at the entrance, shaking the dust from its fur. They felt normal, except for a deep, gnawing hunger in their stomachs. They looked at each other, confused by the strange heaviness in the air. One of them asked a simple, yet profound question. He said, "How long have you remained asleep?" They looked at the sun outside the cave and guessed. They replied, "We have remained a day, or perhaps part of a day." They could not comprehend the massive gap in human history. Ultimately, they surrendered the mystery to God. They said, "Your Lord knows best how long you have remained." But the immediate reality of their hunger pressed heavily upon them. They needed food to survive, but they were terrified of the outside world. They firmly believed King Dahianes and his soldiers were still hunting them. They pulled out a silver coin from their pockets. A coin minted with the face of an ancient, forgotten empire. They chose one of their brave brothers to sneak back into the city. They gave him strict and desperate instructions. They said, "Take this silver coin of yours to the city. Look for the purest and most lawful food and bring us a provision. But let him be extremely cautious and subtle. Do not let anyone know about our hidden sanctuary. If the king's men discover us, they will stone us to death. Or worse, they will torture us back into their false religion. And if we submit to their idols, we will never succeed." The chosen youth wrapped his cloak tightly around his face. He stepped out of the cave, his heart pounding with fear. He expected to find the same hostile, pagan world he left yesterday. But as he walked down the rugged mountain path, everything felt wrong. The trees had grown massive, the dirt roads were completely altered. He approached the great gates of his beloved city. But the banners, the walls, and the architecture had completely changed. He looked around in absolute shock and disbelief. Where were the pagan statues that once littered the streets? Why did the people look so different, speaking in shifted dialects? He was a living ghost of the past, stepping into a distant future. He clutched the ancient silver coin tightly in his hand. The ultimate, dramatic collision of history was about to take place. Right there, in the middle of the bustling marketplace, he found a baker and asked for some pure, simple bread. He handed over his silver coin to pay for the food. The baker took the coin and stared at it in absolute shock. He rubbed his eyes and examined the heavy, ancient silver. It bore the face of King Dahianes, a tyrant dead for over 3 centuries. The baker thought the youth had discovered a buried, hidden treasure. He called the other merchants over to look at the massive coin. A crowd quickly gathered around the terrified young nobleman. He panicked, thinking the king's soldiers had finally caught him. He tried to explain, saying the coin was just from yesterday. But the crowd was fascinated by his ancient clothes and strange speech. They decided to take him directly to the ruler of the city. The youth braced himself for torture and execution. But when he stood before the leader, the reality shifted. This was not the cruel, idol-worshipping tyrant he feared. This was a righteous king, a man who believed in the one true God. At that time, the people of the city were arguing about the day of judgment. Some deeply doubted that God could raise the dead from the dust. They desperately needed a sign, a profound proof of the resurrection. The king listened in awe to the young man's incredible story. He realized this was the legendary brotherhood from their history books. The entire city marched out to the mountain to witness the miracle. The young man entered the cave first to tell his brothers the truth. He told them that Dahianes was long gone and the world had changed. They realized God had suspended them in time for 300 years. Their long, terrifying, and miraculous journey was finally complete, having served as a living, undeniable proof for humanity. The noble youths laid down on the hard stone one last time. God gently took their souls, honoring them in eternal peace. When the people of the city finally entered the cavern, they found their peaceful bodies resting alongside their loyal dog. The people debated what to do with this breathtaking sacred sight. Those who prevailed in the matter said, "We will construct over them a place of worship." Their story became a timeless, brilliant sign for all generations. A blazing reminder that God has absolute power over life and time, and that He never abandons those who stand up for the truth.